to select stitches and settings on the Pfaff Quilt Ambition 2.0 sewing machine is just as easy as touching the screen. So when you turn the machine on, you will come to the first stitch, a straight stitch. So if you want to pick any of the stitches that are up here, these are all the ones that are built into this machine, you can do it a couple ways. The easiest is probably just to touch the little numbered area and dial in the stitch. So if you want stitch 57 and then touch the check mark, that stitch is immediately selected, plus the information of which foot to use, the stabilizer that it recommends, that's that little piece of paper. The dual feed is engaged for this. The feed dogs are up. The tension for this should be between 3 and 5, and the width that it is saved at is 5 millimeters wide, which, by the way, we can make that a little wider. This machine's maximum stitch width is 7 millimeters wide. And did you see that the stitch grew in height? Or on the screen it looks like it went higher, but that's actually wider. If you kind of picture a foot about ready to sew this way, that's what the picture is showing. We could also make the stitch longer. Nope, not longer, but we could make it closer together. That's right, 6 millimeters, that does change, but I do like that if you're a very visual person, you can see that we've made this stitch quite compact, but that's exactly how it's going to stitch. If you want to get back to the default settings of that stitch and instead of trying to push the buttons to find where they were back to normal, which is where they're not highlighted, the easiest way to do it is just to touch and reselect stitch number 57. So for example, so if you want to get back to a straight stitch, just go back to stitch number 1. Another way to select stitches is by touching the arrow down. This will let you kind of visualize all the different stitches, including some of the stitches have their own names. So for example, there's an elastic stitch. Oh, well, that makes sense. That's to sew an elastic. Stitch 16 is a blind hem stitch. So when you select it, that stitch is going to show, it's going to take us to recommend the blind hem foot, number 3. The IDT is engaged, feed dogs are up. Oh, wait, tension. I never thought of adjusting tension for my blind hem, but that would make it open up and lay flatter. That makes sense. So you can adjust the tension right up here to be just right. So to select stitches and settings, we're going to work with our numbers up here and our plus and minus for width and length right here at the side of the machine.